was that suspicious sound and noise coming from the dark, ominous house? I should probably check it out, because nothing bad will happen to me. Oi! Who's here then? Anyone here? Nothing bad's coming. Nothing's bad coming for me. Hello? Oh no! Ow! I wasn't expecting a great deal from this episode. In fact, I was absolutely dreading it. I wanted nothing more this series than to be given an episode that I could finally speak positively for. But for some reason, the majority of episodes that come my way in the review cycle tend to just happen to be, well, crummy. Imagine my disappointment when I saw that I'd probably be getting a story with a naff-looking owl spider monster, a child actor who's prominent within the story, Doctor Who's not had the best of luck with them in recent years, and a primarily character-based story with characters that I don't buy into. You all know my thoughts on Clara, the two-dimensional cardboard cutout. It was tragic too, I thought as I tuned in on Saturday, that I've liked a lot of this series. I've not loved it the way that I used to, but Series 8 has been a vast improvement. It looks beautiful, it's genuinely starting to feel fresh, and Capaldi's been everything he's been promised as, and more. I adored Listen, thoroughly enjoyed Robot of Sherwood, and even though Into the Dalek lacked any original idea whatsoever, whether it was from previous Dalek stories or science fiction films of the black and white days, I still found it an enjoyable experience. And I thought that being given the Caretaker to review was just one of the rules of Sod's Law. Just when I was trying to get back into loving Doctor Who again, something like this had to come along, didn't it? Now, if that's what I thought coming into this episode, what did I think coming out of it? So, well, I don't know how to say this. It's happened. It's finally happened. I love Doctor Who again!
Damn, son.
Okay, so there. Gareth Roberts has written some very decent material in the past, but none of his stories were enough to fill me with confidence when he was given this kind of material to work with, i.e. a primarily comedic story on modern-day Earth with only a low-level threat and the reliance on characters like Clara that haven't really felt like actual people. I was also anxious because I felt as of late that the writing team lacks a fresh set of perspectives. Reusing old writers has, at times during this run, interfered with the new tone Stephen Moffat wants to implement. Capaldi dialogue sometimes feels like Smith dialogue, particularly in Into the Dalek, and old tropes and ideas are reused to the point where it can feel like we're just getting more of the same. Series 8, at times, it's sad to say, has been a bit stale, and I do think that the fault lies with the writers on that one. Truth be told though, both Roberts and Moffat have surpassed themselves here, writing, severed hands down, the greatest story this year so far. So, yeah, Gareth, you can stick around. I'm also happy with Stephen Moffat getting more involved, co-writing a lot of the stories this year. It's difficult to tell how involved he was in the writing process, but Series 8 certainly feels more consistent than the somewhat messy Series 7. I think the best place to start with this story is the characters, for they are by far the central focus and the best thing the story has going for it, the most noticeable of these being Clara. Ever since Listen, Clara Oswald has started to feel like an actual human being, rather than the inconsistent, flawless, dull, indescribable thing we had last year. She's still not perfectly formed, but I'm happy with the progress she's made this year, with Jenna Coleman undoubtedly enjoying the freedom her role is now providing. As for the Doctor, Peter Capaldi continues to impress. I love his character's rudeness, and his delivery never fails to hit home. I don't think I have anything new to say on Capaldi apart from the fact that he's proven just how incredible he can be when provided with material of this higher standard. If the scripts continue to improve over the rest of this series, I think a lot of us will be in no doubt that Capaldi is one of the best Doctors ever to grace our televisions. One of my greatest feelings of dread was the addition of the character of Courtney. As I've said before, Doctor Who hasn't had the best of luck with child actors, and it also has a habit of generating annoying children that feel too much like they're trying to replicate the young audience. You know, the unsurprised, taking it in their stride stereotype. This wasn't the case here though. Courtney is amusing and believable, and her reaction to space was a reaction I'm not sure any of us were expecting. As usual, the show continues to look incredible. I particularly enjoyed the wide shots around the TARDIS. I think that's the most we've seen of it in one shot, and isn't it stunning? I also adored the shot of Clara's reflection in the window while she's talking to Danny about her life with the Doctor. I can't get enough of how this series looks. It's simply art. So, what could we say about the monster? Well, personally, I can't really remember its name without looking it up on Wikipedia, but I don't think that was the point. I don't think it was meant to be the focus of the story. It serves quite well as a monster of the week, but beyond it looking pretty powerful, I don't know if it brings anything else. Not that that's a bad thing. Also, I don't know if anyone else noticed, I know John messaged me to tell me, but it does kind of look like it's riding on a tricycle as it's riding along. I don't know. You tell me. The only negative thing I can think of looking back at this episode is Murray Gold. For a start, he's chosen to ignore important musical cues just by blasting over his action music instead. Look at the moment where the enemy is about to self-destruct to see what I mean. Reusing Amy Pond's motif was also a serious low point for this composer. I'm not saying Murray hasn't done good things for this series, even if one of those things is simply withholding his comedy clown music, but I really think the show needs to take further steps if it wants to sound fresh as well as look it. Also, I know this probably isn't Murray's fault, but can we please get rid of the I Am the Doctor music from the Next Time trailers? It belonged to Matt Smith. It's been overused as it is, and we're all a bit sick of it. Also, talk about making new material feel like more of the same. I know a few people were a bit miffed that Ian Chesterton didn't make a cameo. I mean, it's Coal Hill School, and his name's on the sign. But his absence didn't bother me, as the story worked on its own merits without needing to resort to fan service. I do still hope we see Ian at some point though, but that's just as a mad fan. I've decided that the most notable aspect of this story that reflects my feelings the best is the surprise. I know I had one. Not only was it better than expected, but it has managed to find itself at the current top spot of the series so far, which is why you should crank it up to 11. I'd also recommend for everyone to be kind and rewind, because there's a few details about the monster which you may have missed, and I know there's a lot of great moments I only spotted the second time around. My favourite episode so far, this story has restored my faith in the show, and what it is capable of. Thank you, Gareth Roberts. Oh, and Stephen too. Cheers.
Your stolen items are safely locked inside this box. To unlock the box, you must review Time Heist.
Smoke weed every day.